Good evening, baseball fans. It is Thursday, December 19th. I'm Suzy. That is Kelsey. This is Bourbon and Baseball, All the Balls edition. And I will hopefully get this out much sooner than I got out the last episode. But there was extenuating circumstances that I didn't get the other episode out in a timely fashion.
Were those circumstances you crying into your pillow for days over the loss of Kyle Tucker?
Possibly that. And
You little-
my daughter had her first volleyball tournament, and it was a conglomeration hot mess meets asteroid. And it just, oh, but I'm better. I'm better now. I say I'm better. I at least don't sob uncontrollably now whenever I see Kyle Tucker highlights. So we're making progress.
Awesome. Awesome. It's a
And
journey. Got to go through those
it
stages
is.
of grief.
Yeah. Yeah. I just skyrocketed towards anger, though. There's no denial. It was just straight on over. Anyhow, I will give you guys the rated R warning. This is a rated R podcast for all of the cuss words, of which there will be many, because that's just who I am as a person. And I apparently cannot say anything without any cuss words, unless you are my 9-year-olds, in which case I use the word poop and blast it.
Would you rather
So,
listen to Suzy say poop
yeah,
77 times over the next hour or just let her use the four-letter words?
I'm just saying it's much more cathartic when I can do it on here. I hold it in when talking to the 9-year-olds. We're going to wait until they're at least 10 to introduce them to the word fuck. So it's, like I said,
It's good
good parent right here. Yeah, that's what I say. Anyhow, so if 4-letter words are not your thing, that is okay. Go find a less fun podcast to listen to, of which there are many. So many. But over here, we're lots of fun. We're lots of fun, lots of 4-letter words, and possibly some inappropriate adult humor, because again, that's just who I am as a person.
You just
And
never know where it's going to come from. I didn't mean to
yeah,
go there last time, but it happened. So
listen, Kelsey can talk about 3-ways all she wants and maybe find a guide for said 3-ways. I don't know where that is going to go or where
you were
one
the
can
one
find
that said
that.
you didn't understand three ways.
I,
And
I
then
didn't
I
understand 3-way
walked
trades.
right into
Yeah.
it.
You are correct. Listen, we can talk about 3-way trades and we can talk about smooth balls and tacky balls and me not being able to get through a statement like them coming over and having to throw smooth balls and just being a blubbering idiot and just laughing. So we all have our faults.
You know what you're in for, though, and
Yeah.
that's the point of this disclaimer.
So again, if that's not your jam, yeah, you've probably already turned off this podcast because we talked about 3-ways and smooth balls already. So away we go. I love
Well,
us, Kelsey. I love us.
we have way too much to cover because the stove is staying hot this holiday season. But before we get to both Kyle Tucker and apparently Nolan Arenado both not going to play for the Astros in 2025, let's kick off our second annual 40-man find segment. We started the segment last off season where we cover one maybe lesser known player on the 40-man roster of all 30 teams as a sort of preview for the upcoming season. And last season, Suzy did a players from the National League teams, and I did players from the American League teams. I think we decided we're going to flip flop this season,
Yes.
but for the first one, we didn't because we decided we couldn't cover our own teams. So for this very first one, Suzy has picked someone from the St. Louis Cardinals, who I am a fan of, and I have picked someone from the Houston Astros that Suzy is a fan of. And then
Yeah.
we're going to spin a wheel, and that is going to help us select the teams that we will cover next week. So with no further ado, Suzy, kick us off. Who are you going to tell us about on the 40-man roster for the St. Louis Cardinals?
I'm very excited to go over this particular player, Kels, because I looked at your 40-man roster and I was all, oh, okay, I know that name, I know that name, I know that name. I don't know that name. I don't know that name. And I actually think I texted you a screenshot and asked, who the fuck is this? Because I had literally never heard that name. I didn't decide to go with that guy that I texted you about, but I went with maybe a little bit more known Cardinal. He is on the 40-man. He already did make his season debut last season. Without further ado, let me introduce you to Thomas Darren Saggese.
Mm.
Saggese. FYI. In case you guys see his name and you're all, I don't know how that's pronounced. Is that Saggese? Is
Saggese?
it
That's what I thought at
Saggese?
first.
Yeah. Yeah, ThomasSaggese. He is a literal baby. He was born April 10th, 2002. So I don't do the maths. I may be Asian, but I don't do the maths if you're new around here. And so I think he's 21, 22. We're just
22.
gonna, yeah,
Yeah, 22. He'll be 23 in April.
3. Okay, in
Yeah,
April. All
for my
right.
birthday.
So he is a literal baby. He went to Carlsbad High School, and as a junior in 2019,
Like
makes me feel so
yesterday.
old.
God.
I'm so old, God. In 2019, he hit 422 with 10 home runs over 102 games. It's pretty good. In 2020, the Texas Rangers drafted him in the 5th round with the 145th overall pick, and they signed him for $800,000. And ThomasSaggese said, "I will take that. Pepperdine, go screw yourself." No, I'm just kidding. I don't think he told Pepperdine that, but he did decline to play for Pepperdine because he signed with the Texas Rangers. And he was signed after the whole coronavirus pandemic thing. In 2021, he was assigned to the Low A Down East Ducks. I was not familiar with the Rangers minor league system, and
No.
I was not aware that was their single A team. I was all, "I Is this the correct one?" I think so. The
That's just
Down
another
East
great
Ducks.
highlight of this 40 man find is learning about, yeah, the minor league affiliates and the Cape Cod
Mhm.
League teams. Oh, I love it.
Yeah, so much. And in 73 games, he hit 256 with 10 home runs, 37 RBIs, and 11 stolen bases. Have I mentioned that Thomas Saggese is an infielder? I have not. And I don't actually know which positions he played. It just said infielder, so I assume just all of the positions. So many. Just first, second, third, just short, all of them. Could be. Yeah. So in 2022, he was promoted to High A, the Hickory Crawdads. If you are, again, not familiar with the Rangers minor league system, Low A, Down East Ducks, High A, Hickory Crawdads. That they've got to have some great merch. Anyways, he was named the Rangers Minor League Player of the Month in July, and he was promoted to the Double A Rough Riders for the final week of the season and playoffs. And in 103 games over both teams, he hit 312 with a 361 OBP. He slugged 506 with 15 home runs, batted in 70 RBIs, and had 25 doubles and 12 stolen bases. He received the 2022 Texas Rangers True Ranger Award. I was going to look up what that actually meant, and then I saw something shiny and I forgot. So
It's
you
probably
get
just like
some
their
homework,
minor
people.
league player
Yeah.
of the year award is my guess. A
Yeah. I
fancy
don't know if
name
it's
for it.
character or award or if it's the best player, but it's something. The Rangers recognized him, so I'm here to tell you about it. And after that, he was named to the South Atlantic League All-Star team. And guess what? In July of 2023, July 30th to be exact, he was traded to said St. Louis Cardinals. Do you remember who he was traded for,
Oh, yes, I do.
Kelsey?
One J Money, Jordan Montgomery,
Yes,
and
one
Chris
Jordan
Pratt.
Montgomery, and there was Chris Stratton. I'm all, who the fuck is Chris Stratton? Totally forgot about him. But Thomas J.C. along with John King and Takoa Roby. So 3 players for J Money, Jordan Montgomery, and Chris Stratton. And he was assigned to the Double A Springfield Cardinals. I was all, oh, look at you, Springfield Cardinals. All right,
Very
Double A
original.
team. What I didn't really get though, like I figured that the Cardinals, if they were going to be in the minor league system, was going to be like your Triple A team. It is in fact
Oh, yeah.
not
No,
because
AAA is the Redbirds. Very
yes.
different, very distinct.
Mhm. Yeah, that makes I would think it would be the Redbirds and then the Cardinals, it would be flip-flopped. The Red Sox are
Yeah,
it
that
makes
makes so
sense
much
in my head,
sense.
but
Mhm.
no. So, he was assigned to the Double A Springfield Cardinals. Yeah, don't not to be confused with the St. Louis Cardinals, not the same team. And then in September, he was promoted. In 139 games over both leagues, he slashed 306, 374, and 530 with 26 home runs, 111 RBIs, and 34 doubles. In 2023, also, he was awarded the Texas League MVP. I was
Alright.
like, look at you. Yeah. So in 2020, he made his MLB debut on September 10th, 2024, versus the Cincinnati Reds, and he replaced Brendan Donovan. He was out with a hurt foot. Yeah, so I don't actually know if Thomas Saggese will be up for the 2025 season. I assume in some
I
sort of
would think
capacity
so.
since
Yeah.
since the Cardinals are in the whole let the kids play era.
Uh,
I believe he is going to be somewhere on the infield.
yes, and the Cardinals brass is very high on ThomasSaggese. He is what they call a quote ball player, which is totally their brand of baseball. So yeah, the fans love him already, and I'm very excited to see him get more of an opportunity in 2025. We've got to have something to look forward to. So that was a
Yeah,
really good one to highlight.
yeah.
I also looked up the True Ranger Award was established
Oh,
in 2019. It highlights a player who represents the core values of the organization in a positive light, both on and off the field. So yeah, the Heart and Hustle Award or something like that.
gotcha. Okay. Fun fact about Thomas Saggese: he loves romantic comedies.
Oh my god,
Mhm.
love.
Yeah.
Me
So
too.
I don't know. I'm gonna have to dig a little bit deeper and see if there is somewhere out there where he says what his favorite
Yeah,
romantic
well,
comedy is.
this is also why we need to get these guys, ThomasSaggese, if you're out there, if you're
Mhm.
listening, if you're hard up for an interview, come on over to Bourbon and Baseball because these are the kinds of questions that we're gonna ask
Yeah.
that the people need to know.
I need
So,
to know if it is How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days or some other
The
loser
Holiday,
romantic comedy.
which I've
Okay, fine.
watched 12 times in the last week, probably, maybe. Who?
Yes,
No.
The Holiday will also be filed under romantic comedy, but The Holiday, you can really only watch The Holiday during Christmas time or during, like,
Says
that
who?
holiday. Says Girl World Rules.
No, Jude
I don't
Law
know, no?
looks plenty fine all 12 months of the year, let me tell you.
Fine, okay, then we have to put Love Actually in there too, because those are
Yeah,
my 2 favorite
that's fair.
Christmas movies.
That's fair.
So,
Alright, well,
yeah.
I'm
So
glad
Thomas
we're on the same
Saggese,
page there.
come on down. I need to know what your favorite rom-com actually is. These are the burning questions that I know the people wanna know.
Yeah, yeah.
So
We're
but
gonna leave them
Kels,
begging for more, but yeah, maybe
yeah.
we'll get back around to it when we have old Tom Saggese on the show. Okay, so I had to dig deep into the Houston Astros 40-man roster, which is rapidly changing these days.
That
And
indeed.
I found a 5th round draft pick of the 2020
Mm.
Major League Baseball draft. Also an infielder who plays multiple positions. Also made his big league debut towards the end of the season in 2024 and could very well be an integral part of the big league club this up and coming season. I am talking to you about ShayWhitcomb, who is a Korean American
Oh, okay.
infielder born and raised in the Los Angeles area. He played college baseball for Division II University of California, San Diego. And in 2019, he played collegiate summer ball with the Orleans Firebirds of the Cape Cod Baseball League. He, as I mentioned, was drafted by the Houston Astros. So unlike Thomas Saggese, who has been drafted and traded, Whitcomb is still with the organization that drafted him in 2020. He was the final player selected in this draft that was shortened due to
Mhm.
COVID-19 pandemic. He did not play in 2020, much like Thomas Saggese, because of COVID, but he spent his first professional season in 2021 with the Single A Fayetteville.
Fayetteville,
Fayetteville.
Fayetteville,
Where is Fayetteville?
North Carolina.
North Carolina. The Fayetteville Woodpeckers. And then he was promoted in 2021 to High A Asheville Tourists. Over 99 games between these two teams, he slashed 293, 363 OBP, and a 530 slug with 23 home runs, 78 RBIs, 30 stolen bases, and 25 doubles. So not too shabby for getting a chance right out of the gate here. Whitcomb spent 2022 with the Double A Corpus Christi Hooks. He played 118 games where he hit 219, 283, and 399 with 19 home runs, 60 RBIs, and 20 stolen bases. He then split 2023 between Corpus Christi and the Triple A Sugarland Space Cowboys, so he's working his way up. In a
Mhm.
133 game split between these two teams, looking a little bit better, starting to figure some things out maybe, batting 240, OBP of 301, slugging 470 with 20 stolen bases. So he's got wheels. He's getting those bags in every season. And he had a career high in home runs with 35 and RBIs with 102. Come on, Shay, let's go.
Mhm.
Whitcomb began the 2024 campaign with AAA in Sugarland, and on August 16th of 2024, he was selected to the 40-man roster. He was promoted to the big leagues for the first time, and he made his MLB debut on August 17th, where he started at third base in place of one injured Alex Bregman. He actually doubled in his first major league at bat. We always love these stories of the
Mhm.
guys who come out of the gate just ready to get out there. That was versus Chris Flexen of the Chicago White Sox. Way to kick them while they're down, Shay. And Whitcomb also had one other hit, a walk, and a run scored to help lead that 6-1 win for the Astros. Was a really big, exciting moment for him when he hit a 2-run single on August 22nd, just a few days later, off of Corbin Burns at Camden Yards. Was that the game we were at?
I don't
No,
think so. I
no, we were
think we were
probably there,
there.
like, the next day.
I think we were there a little.
That was the series that we were at,
I think
but I
so.
don't think that was the actual game that we were at.
Yeah.
Oh, Shay, we
No.
just missed this big hit for you. Yeah, we didn't see Corbin Burns. We would have remembered that.
Mm-mm.
But this
Yeah.
was his first career RBI, and the Astros went on. Oh, yeah, the Astros didn't win when we were there, duh.
Yeah.
The Astros did win this game.
Thanks for that, Kels. Just twist it just a little bit more.
Yeah, I got ahead of myself there. In 20 games, so we only played in 20 games for the Astros in 2024, and he hits in those, I believe he only had 41 at bats. Yeah, 220, 304, 293. So not a great sample size. No home runs, did have 5 RBIs though. But with AAA, where he spent the majority of the season, he batted for average at 293, had an on base percentage of 378, slugging 530 with 25 home runs, 91 RBIs, 26 stolen bases in his 481 plate appearances there. With Sugarland last season, Shay Whitcomb won the AAA championship over the Omaha Storm Chasers, and this was the first ever championship for Sugarland. Pretty cool. And he was named the championship MVP also on the day that happened to be his 26th birthday. So that's pretty freaking cool. What a day. Whitcomb was also named Houston Astros Minor League Player of the Year last season, and he was a AAA All-Star. And I thought this was exciting to see that he reduced his strikeouts significantly from 178 in 2023 to only 95 in 2024, while increasing his walks from 42 to 50. Definitely looks like he is making the strides forward, kind of those little facts that you can pick out about him that say, hey, I think this kid might just make it. And Baseball America lists Shay as the Astros' number 7 prospect. He is said to be the best hitter for average among the Astros prospects. So it seems like maybe there's a chance that he is not only going to be on the opening day roster, but he could be starting opening day. No, you don't think so?
No chance. There's
No
no chance.
chance?
There's no chance now. While I love my half Korean brother, Shay Whitcomb, let me tell you about Shay Whitcomb's one of his last games
Whitcomb.
over at
Okay.
third
Same
base.
roster.
Yeah. Over at third base. You know when you go into a game and you're not really ready and as soon as you go into that game, the ball finds you?
Yeah.
He went into the game and the ball found him and he didn't get it. And just I don't know what happened, but he wasn't ready for it. And we were like, "Okay, that's fine. That's fine. Hot corner, we get it. We've been watching Alex Bregman over there for years. We do not expect you to be Alex Bregman. That's okay, Shay. You are all right." It got to him because he then proceeded to have 3 more errors
Oh.
in almost every single inning. The first time, the ball took a weird hop on him, and he
Mhm.
just couldn't corral it. And we're like, "Okay, whatever." The second time, he got it, and then as he was transferring to the glove to throw, just totally we talked about those smooth balls, just totally dropped. I was all, "Okay, that's that alright, Shay. It's okay. You just keep it going. We can work past this." By the end of the game, and each time, it cost us a run.
Oh, jeez.
Each time, and we're all,
Oh, man, I'm bringing up all kinds of bad memories for you today.
"That's alright, Shay." And by this time, we had all kinds of issues with Jose Abreu being at first for way too fucking long, and then KyleTucker obviously being hurt, and just it was a rough season, and poor Shay did not help. And the fact that I feel like since Shay put up such good numbers in AAA, we
Mhm.
just automatically expected that to transfer over to the big leagues, and we obviously know how big of a leap that can be for some guys. And playing for a team like the Astros, it put a little bit more pressure on him than I
Yeah, I'm
think
20 games
he was.
though. I wouldn't call that a fair enough sample size to say he's not gonna cut it or whatever, but he
Yeah.
plays first base too, right? Or he can play
I
first.
wanna
I guess he
say
can play all the infield. He can play
yeah.
shortstop, third, and first.
Yeah.
I'm sure
So
he
I
can
wanna
play.
say that the most of the time he played 3rd and 1st. I don't think he did any short or second when he came up, but I wanna say most of the time he played 3rd. There was a couple of times when he played 1st, but most of the
Okay.
time he was 3rd.
So man,
So
maybe that's why they wanted Nolan Arenado because he could like maybe help Shea clean up his defense a little bit.
someone's got to.
But that would be
Someone's got
really
to.
hard. It sounds like for where he's at in his development, yeah, if you're not gonna have him play every day, you better keep
Yeah.
him in AAA. So I see what you're saying. Interesting. Either way, he's one to keep an eye out for because I don't know if he's not going to be on the big league roster, if he's not going to ultimately turn into an everyday player sooner rather than later. He could be a trade piece. Who knows?
Yeah.
But there's your guy, ShayWhitcomb.
Yeah.
So we mentioned that I guess we've got the trades, the signings to talk about, but we've alluded to the fact that the big rumor, the hot headline of the last few days is that NolanArenado has blocked his trade from the Cardinals to the Houston Astros. A deal was done and he said, but ultimately it's up to me. And no, I do not want to be a Houston Astro, at least not today. Yeah, there's just been all of this chatter around that. What is your initial read on the situation?
Fuck you, Nolan Arenado. No, I'm just kidding. Let's rewind this. I didn't want Nolan Arenado to begin with.
Sure.
Don't get me wrong. I understand that it's Nolan Arenado, but he's going to be 34. We literally just got done having Jose Abreu at first, aging first baseman. I cannot do an aging third baseman. I can't do it. My
Even one
emotional
who
heart
has
cannot take it.
10 platinum gold gloves, his defense hasn't regressed at all.
I don't I don't give
Some
a
might
fuck about the
argue with
defense.
me on that, but
I don't give a fuck about the defense.
I don't
I
think I'm a Nolan Arenado truther. Like, I don't think he's done for. I don't think he's full on regressing at the plate either, but the at least the surface metrics would certainly tell you otherwise. So I absolutely get what you're saying. You just don't see him as the ideal fit.
yeah, I don't
Hard to get excited about it.
I didn't want him at third base, but I wanted him to want to be here. It's
Sure.
one of those fucked up girl situations where
Absolutely. Remember when,
yeah.
the Marlins were trying to trade Giancarlo Stanton to the Cardinals, and I was, like, so offended that he was like, "No, the Cardinals are a never team. I will not wave my trade glove."
Yeah.
What?
I was a little offended. Apparently, though, that 6-team list that came out that had the Dodgers, Yankees, Mets, Phillies, Boston,
And the
and the
Angels.
fucking Angels,
How could you
that
forget that?
that list yeah, that list apparently was not true, and the Astros were apparently on a list that he approved originally, but then said JK. And then it wasn't said outright, but it was hinted at the fact that since we no longer have KyleTucker and we no longer have Alex Bregman, that maybe it's not a contending team. And obviously, Nolan wants to come to a contending team and wants to be a piece there and maybe not the piece. I'm
Sure.
all right, Nolan, but do you forget, like, we still have Jose Altuve and Yordan Alvarez? I get you. You would be a big name, but not gonna be bigger than Yordan Alvarez or
For
Jose
sure.
Altuve. It's not.
Yeah. I can't imagine that if I may speak for Nolan Ar
Please do.
no,
I know you are a
I
close personal friend, so
yeah, if I can just speak for my close buddy here, Nato is what I call him. Yeah, I am guessing that he's more along the lines of a lot of the follow-up to this came out about it being him feeling
timing.
it's too early in the offseason,
Yeah,
yes, to make this sort of decision, and I could definitely see the Astros are in flux right now. Like, they've clearly got
yeah,
some more moves to do, so part of me is, yeah, I don't blame him for wanting to see what that's ultimately gonna look like, and really what I think it comes down to is he wants to be on the Dodgers, like, 1, who doesn't? And 2, he's from LA and grew up a Dodgers fan, blah, blah, blah. Of course, he would love to be on the Dodgers, and I think he's probably holding out for them to straight up say, "No, we're not interested in any sort of deal with the Cardinals," because ultimately, like, the Cardinals are gonna have to make whatever deal
right,
he can make any deal with the Dodgers. If the Dodgers are like, "Yeah, we'll take you for this and this," and if that's the only way you're getting rid of me, Cardinals, that's what's gonna happen. I kinda blame him for weighing his options. I think it's funny that it's been, like, such a huge storyline, and for me, it just makes me sad because I hate that they're having to move on from him in this fashion, even though it obviously makes sense for all the worst reasons.
yeah. I don't know. It just for me, what are the Dodgers doing? The Dodgers are not going to move off of Max Muncy.
Right. I
They've
mean,
already said that he was their third baseman. They
yeah,
moved they moved Mookie back to short. So unless Max Muncy's going to DH every day, but hi, you can't because you have Shohei Otani that's going to DH. Nolan, yes, while you've got the defense over Max Muncy, pretty sure Max Muncy's bat is just a little bit hotter than yours.
lately, I don't know though. Also, has anyone seen Freddie Freeman lately? Can he walk? Is he good? Is he
Yeah,
is his ankle
yeah.
okay?
I think he had surgery in the off season and now
Yeah.
he's good to go. He's just over there playing with his new kitten and
Oh,
being a
that's right.
dad.
Oh my
Mhm.
gosh. Okay. All right,
Yeah.
because we do have an aging Freddie Freeman over there at first as well, but I don't oh man, the tough thing about Nolan Arenado is, like, you can't use this guy like the way that the Cardinals used Brandon Crawford in his year, what,
Right.
37 season? No, we are not there yet with Nolan Arenado, so someone please find him a new home and put him to good use. Ugh, all
Hey,
this
we were trying. We were trying, and Nato said, I'm gonna see if any prettier girls want me."
yeah.
The Astros are maybe strong 6, but,
Like, maybe when
uh,
the Astros get their
yeah,
braces off, we'll see how they look, and
yeah.
yeah. We'll see. I'm sure we'll
Anyhow,
come back
that's
yeah, they're clearly very motivated to move him, and it sounds like it will happen one way or another. Just depends on when it all goes down. Okay,
yes.
Suzy, do you wanna spin the wheel and pick
Yes.
our teams for next week before we forget for the next 40-man find?
Let's yes, let's do that. I'm gonna share my screen here with the wheel of names, and this was the test here.
Yeah,
It's not
that
the
was the
actual
tough
San
one,
Diego
so
Padres, yes.
we'll leave
So
them on. If they come up again, we'll see.
oops,
Not opposed to it. Okay, so
wheel
I'm
of names.
getting a National League team, and you're getting an American
Yes,
League team, and we'll just spin until we get one of each.
exactly. So do do. And we have.
Ah!
Oh, oh, oh.
What? Twice in a row. All right,
Okay.
they're just begging for it. All right,
All
San Diego
right. So
Padres, I see you.
San Diego Padres. All right, now we're going to remove the San Diego Padres, and maybe we're going to remove the San Diego Padres and go to that window.
And then we need an American League team, Wheel.
All right, let's go.
I feel
Do,
like we
do,
need
do,
some
do, do, do.
circus music.
Right? Oh, and
Ooh.
Kelsey, you have the New York
No,
Yankees.
wait, you're doing the Yankees. You're doing the American League this time, right?
Oh, am I? Oh, I don't.
Yeah, we
Is that what we
switched.
decided?
We're switching.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Can,
So you
can
the
I do
Yankees
the Can I do the National League this week too?
out. No.
Fine, I'll do the
Actually,
New York
maybe we
Yankees.
could do it that way. We could do it where we're just like, you spin and whatever one comes up first, I take, and whichever one comes up second, you take. We could just do it that way.
Okay, fine. I'll trade you the New York Yankees though, and do your homework for the next week. No, just kidding.
I'll do the Yankees, you can do the Padres, and
Okay.
then next week we'll just do it that way. We'll shake
Okay.
it up and we'll just decide on the spot who's gonna get the first pick and who's gonna get
Perfect.
I don't wanna take the Padres from you because you thought you had them, so especially
I
because
was
the
so
Yankees
excited.
is the you've had a lot of hurt this week, Susie, so I'm gonna take this one for the team.
It is appreciated. Thank you very much.
Okay, so
I
next
I
week,
appreciate you.
Susie will have a feature on a San Diego Padres 40-man find, and I will dive into the New York Yankees. That's what you got to look forward to.
Yeah. I'm very excited. I don't know. Maybe you can dive into the love triangle between Giancarlo and Cody Bellinger and his wife.
Yeah,
I don't know.
that was making headlines before that trade was even complete. Do you know any details on that? I haven't looked into it. I've seen what I've seen in the post that Giancarlo Stanton used to date Cody Bellinger's now wife, correct?
Yes, that is correct. I don't know. I was going to Google a timeline because the timeline is really what is the most important thing here, right? You know,
Yeah.
if she dated Giancarlo and then I don't know, 3 years later got together with Cody Bellinger, this is a non-story and it's whatever. And
Yeah.
but if she dated Giancarlo and then a week later she's with Cody Bellinger, now we can talk some. But I didn't
Yeah.
Google because again I saw something shiny. And so if any of you people out there know the backstory on this, I would love to know, and that would save me a Googling, a Google search. Anyhow, drop it in the comments.
Yeah,
Drop it
I
in the
think oh man, of course I'm getting all these pop-ups. Come on, I just want the hot
Oh,
gossip.
give me all the tea. Yeah, so
Does
if you've not
seem
already liked and subscribed to this episode, to this podcast, do that now and help us find out the tea with all of the Giancarlo Cody Bellinger drama.
yeah, it does sound
That'd
from
be
my very light Google here. Again, we'd love to know more if you have the deets, but it does seem like it was less than a year between when Stanton and her had split and Bellinger and her were linked.
oh, interesting,
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah.
But now she's married. She's married to Cody Bellinger, right? I know she's Cody Bellinger's baby mama, but I didn't know they were actually married.
Yeah, I think they got married it looks like they got married in 2022.
Okay. All right. Apparently she has a type. Baseball players.
Yeah.
Because I
Cody
was
Bellinger
just
was
gonna
a lot
say,
younger.
yeah, I was
But
gonna say because it's not body type or like
yeah.
shape or anything because that's too Giancarlo to Cody Bellinger is two totally separate. It's a big
Yeah,
difference.
maybe they could have, like, similar personalities. That would be interesting. But yeah,
I feel like
totally different vibes in a way.
Giancarlo would be more vocal? I don't know. Every time I hear Cody Bellinger speak, I'm like, it's probably a good thing that you are decent at baseball because he just does not seem like an intelligent individual. I'm sure he probably is very smart, but he just does not sound like it.
Yeah.
And I'm a horrible human being for judging him for that, but it is what it is here, people. I will
We're just
always be straight
reading
up with
things
you.
on the surface level. Interesting. Lots
What are
of
the I know medical marijuana is legal in most places. Is it I assume it's legal in New York? What's the
oh,
deal with that?
recreational? Yeah,
Rec
recreational marijuana is definitely legal in New York and in
Oh,
Chicago, where Cody Bellinger has been.
okay. So then he'll be fine. He will be
Yeah,
totally
remember
fine.
when we rolled
So
up in the Bronx and you were like, "The whole
oh,
Bronx
try.
smells like marijuana."
Yeah. I'm like,
Yes.
"Why? Why does it just out in the open you can do
It's
it?" And you're
actually
all,
because of
"Yes."
GiancarloStanton. No, I don't I do not know. But no, everybody loves to make comments about how Cody Bellinger looks like a stoner. I do see it. But I also think it's you know how I feel about commenting on people's appearances. I just like to make fun of him because he played for the Chicago Cubs, but he doesn't anymore
He doesn't. Nope.
because he was traded to the Yankees. And it seems like the Cubs were just trying to offload this contract, right? Like,
Oh,
not
what there wasn't a try. There was just, "Hey, will anyone give us
anyone.
any sort of anything for Cody Bellinger? Please.
Yeah, but they're
Anything?"
also sending the Yankees cash, like, towards his contract, and
Mhm.
they will receive right-handed pitcher Cody Poteet?
Poteet. Yes, Poteet.
Alright, yeah, the Cubs offloaded Cody B. Not surprising. Okay, so now the Yankees okay, let's talk about the other Yankees move here. The Yankees traded NestorCortes to the Brewers for infielder Caleb Durbin, who's gonna fit right in with
Oh, yeah.
Pat Murphy's crew, and right-handed pitcher, closer DevinWilliams was the hot ticket item there. Now there's a lot to unpack with this trade in itself before we lump it back to the Yankees Soto consolation splurge, but Mr. Cortez had a birthday this past week, so I hear,
Mhm.
and he woke up in Las Vegas, is that correct?
Mhm. Yep.
And woke up middle of the afternoon, probably the next day in Vegas, living it up, and bro checks his phone and is
Yeah.
"Wait, what I
Just a
miss?"
barrage of missed phone calls and 43,000 texts. Yeah.
Saying, "You have been traded from the New York Yankees to the Milwaukee Brewers. Quite a change of scenery." Now, I hope that this is a good change of scenery for Nestor Cortes. We were talking literally just last
Mhm.
week about how we had no idea how he was going to fit in to the Yankees rotation or otherwise next season. So, not surprising. Him or Marcus Stroman, if not both, there were going to be attempts to move them. Yeah, I think good for him. And I do think the Brewers are a sneaky place to land in terms of a new angle for pitchers.
Mhm.
So, I'm excited to
Yep.
see what is in store for Cortez with the Brewers. DevinWilliams, is he the new Yankees closer or is he the setup guy for our
He
boy
is the
Luke
new
Weaver?
closer.
He is
Luke
the new
Weaver
closer.
will go back to being an awesome setup guy, but DevinWilliams is going to be the closer. And Yankees, please, for the love of God, change your hair facial policy.
Oh, yeah,
Please,
I
for the love
did.
of God. DevinWilliams is going to have to shave his beard into, I don't know, a mustache, clean shaven. Max
And it's
Fried
worth it.
without facial hair is too much. I can't. He looks
Yeah.
like he's 12. And I feel like Devin Williams without facial hair, he is going to lose all his aura now as well. And I can't. I just cannot. And it makes me sad.
Yeah, I agree. I saw a quote that Devin Williams said he hasn't been clean shaven in like over 6 years.
Hmm.
Why are you gonna do that to a dude? I absolutely think that's something that could like mess with your mojo.
Yeah. Like we said, Clay Holmes going from the Yankees to the Mets, he's going to grow out his beard again. And Cy Young. Cy Young. That's all I'm saying. But even in Clay Holmes's press conference, he had not a full on beard, but there was lots of facial hair there. So the fact that now it's just one of those things, I'm like, all right, okay, we'll see what you got going over there. But yeah, I hope that the Brewers can tweak Nestor, and I don't want to say fix him because I don't. Let's just be really honest. The Brewers are a pitching lab, but the Brewers are not magical. The Brewers are not going to turn
Right.
Nestor Cortez into a
Like
sub
breathe
2
new
ERA
life,
pitcher.
maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Nestor's got a decent pitch mix. He's got the timing that he can mess with as well. And he's an innings eater. Like I
Mhm.
want to say before he got hurt last season, the season prior, I wanna say he pitched like 150 plus innings. I mean, that's what he can do for you. And
Mm.
Milwaukee having a rotation of patchwork, duct taped, random ass motherfuckers that you've never heard of. Now you have a guy that you can slot in and have a name there, and he can take the ball every 5th day. So, I'm hopeful that Caleb Durbin is going to get a shot, and the fact that he's only 5'6" makes me so happy.
Oh my
Like,
gosh,
he
I don't think I knew
really
that.
yeah, I think he fits in perfectly with the
Yeah.
Brewers. So, we'll see. We
Yeah,
will
and
see.
he can bop all around that infield. Man,
Mhm.
I want NestorCortes to go, like, full on, like, Sean Manaea beard now that he is on the Brewers. I think we might get to see something like that, and I think that might be the
Yes.
new life that the Brewers breathe into NestorCortes. It might just be enough. Okay, but here's the real question. Here's the vibe check because the Yankees now have acquired since they lost out on Juan Soto very publicly, very shamefully, very sorrowfully.
Right.
They have signed Max Fried, 8 years, $218 million. They have traded for DevinWilliams as their new closer, and they have acquired CodyBellinger to DH first base, I would assume. Would
I
you
think they're
have
gonna put him in the outfield. I think they're
really?
gonna put him
Okay,
in the
I
outfield.
guess you're probably right. Yeah, because he can play a center field, he can play all over the place out there too. We'll see. So, would you rather have Max Fried, Cody Bellinger, Devin Williams, or Juan Soto?
Listen, there are many holes that the Yankees have to fill, and especially with one large hole that Juan Soto vacated, and so I guess you can still call it the Bronx Bombers. You still got Aaron Judge, you still got Big G, but at some point Big G's gonna get hurt, and then you just have Aaron Judge. And so now maybe it'll just be run prevention that will win the Yankees games as opposed to
That would be a different direction from last season, but
yeah, I don't know. It's just they still have major moves that they have to make. Like I said, I think the plan is that Cody Bellinger will play left field. They're gonna scoot Aaron Judge to right field. Cody's gonna play center, or vice versa. They'll put Cody in
Mhm,
left field, and then Jason Dominguez, the Martian,
mhm.
may come up and play center field. I want to say that I've heard that unfortunately last season he got hurt and they brought him up and his defense wasn't great. He's coming off an injury, but he is more comfortable in center field versus one of the corners. So I think that's what they're going to do. So I think they'll do that, but then they still have to fill first base. They still have to fill second or third base. I don't know where Jazz is playing. I don't know if Jazz is going to
Mm.
second, which is his natural position, or if he's going to stay at third, which is what he played last season. And you got Anthony Volpe out there at short. That's great.
Yeah, holding it down.
So you still got some holes, Yankees. I don't know what you're gonna do. We'll see.
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, I don't think there's any real player package that you could put together, like, realistically in this offseason that would make you feel better to say, "Yeah, no, I'd rather have this than Juan Soto." I just don't think there's anyone who, at the end of the day, is gonna say that, and that's just the way it is. That's why there was so much noise around his signing and why he got the kind of deal that he did. But, yeah, I don't know, it's very on brand for the Yankees to do the thing that seems flashy and pretty and exciting, but you're like, "Does this actually make sense? What are we
Yeah.
I don't know. Are we like, does this puzzle actually are these all puzzle pieces from the same puzzle?" So, yeah, I don't know, we also just love to hate on the Yankees if you're new here, so maybe it's just
Oh,
us.
listen,
Okay,
I will
before
give the Yankees credit, like, when they deserve the credit. Congratulations, Yankees, that you guys are making moves. I don't know if Cody Bellinger is the correct move, but getting a lockdown closer, Devin Williams, and getting Max Fried, those are great options. Side note, though, did you realize when they traded NestorCortes for Devin Williams that both of those guys left their respective teams on a sour note?
Yeah.
Devin Williams giving up that big home run to Pete
Yeah, they were, like,
Alonso, and
arguably
then
the reason that their teams got eliminated from the playoffs. Yeah.
oh, and then okay, Nestor Cortes shouldn't have not been in the position that he got put in.
Absolutely not.
That was
Yeah,
just
no.
so that one I'm gonna put on the Yankees, but Devin Williams, like, what's happening? But yeah, it's one of those. It is what it is.
It is
Yeah.
very interesting where they were both like, "Yeah, listen, the fan base is not gonna get back on board with this guy, like, you want him? Oh, yeah, we have one
Yeah.
like that too. Let's
Yeah.
swap."
Let's
The
just switch.
Brewers fans don't remember what NestorCortes did and vice
Yeah,
versa. Okay,
so
Suzy, before we get to all your tiers, let's talk about the one other trade that has happened in the recent days. The Athletics traded for the Rays left-handed pitcher Jeffrey Springs. The Athletics are doing things. They might actually try to have a real legit starting rotation, it looks like. The Rays receive right-handed pitcher Joe Boyle and Jacob Waters, and outfielder Will Simpson, and a compensation A pick. Yeah, they really wanted Jeffrey Springs. What are the
yeah,
Athletics doing over here? They gonna actually follow through and try to play with the big league boys now that they're on the
well, they
move?
have to.
They do.
They are
Yeah.
legally obligated to, or else the MLBPA is going to file a grievance against them. So they are trying to get their payroll up, and I can't wait and to see what the Rays do with Joe Boyle. Like,
Mhm.
it's I say the Brewers aren't magical. I wanna say maybe the Rays have just a tiny bit of black magic in them. I don't
Yeah,
know what
yeah,
happens down there, but I feel like maybe, just maybe, there's some sort of black magic, witchcraft, if you will, going on down there, because they literally fix pitchers and just do the things. So
yeah,
we'll see
particularly on the pitching
what
side.
happens. Yeah. But yeah, no, here, let me ask you, Kels, who is gonna have a better record next season? The A's, the Sacramento A's, or the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim?
I think you asked me this at the end of our episode last week, and I declined to answer because it is a real question.
But now they have legit two starting pitchers. They have legitimate two
Yeah,
starting pitchers
and
now
they have
that
a
you've
lot of
heard of
talent
before.
within their system, and they have guys who, to some extent, like, they're just playing a different brand of baseball because of they have less pressure on them, and
Mhm.
I don't know, in a way, we're seeing some of them Lawrence Butler, we're seeing guys like that just come out and maybe have a different level of opportunity than guys who are just as talented but are in other systems and are blocked and are it all has to do with it's also circumstantial when it comes down to it. So, if you had asked me today, I would say the Athletics would probably have a better record than the Angels in 2025.
I think so. I think I
We'll
agree with
circle
you
back
there.
on this, like, maybe
Mhm.
the week before
Yeah.
opening day or something because we can put some teams head to head. But
Mhm.
yeah, Jeffrey Springs, he is due 10.5 million next year and in 2026, and then he has a $15 million club option for 2027. He did undergo Tommy John surgery in April of 2023, so he came back in July of 24. Pitched pretty well in 7 starts for the Rays. He had a 3.27 ERA with 37 strikeouts, 11 walks, and 33 innings pitched, but he was shut down in mid-September again with, quote, "left elbow fatigue." Though the Rays at that point were like, "It's precautionary, we're out of playoff contention, blah, blah, blah." Seems like the A's are the Fs, the whoever they are expecting this 32-year-old to be legit and ready to go for them. No reason to
Yeah.
believe he wouldn't be.
Yep. And I think it's gonna work. So we shall see what they actually end up doing. But another team that signed just a little bit older pitcher coming over from Japan. Were you a little surprised by the Orioles signing, Kels, or did that not surprise you?
Yeah, I can't say I was terribly surprised. I think they've got some way bigger splashes to make, and this was one of the things they could check off the list at this point in the offseason.
Yeah. So the Orioles signed right-handed pitcher TomoyukiSugano for 1 year and $13 million. He's 35 years old and he's won multiple Sawamori Awards, which is the Japanese version of a Cy Young. But just for reference, they have very specific criteria in Japan to win the Sawamori Award. And if no pitcher in the league fulfills the criteria, the award doesn't get given out.
Right.
Yeah.
No
That
participation
yeah.
trophies in Japan, don't you know?
Mm-mm, nope. No, no. Asians hate that, by the way.
Yeah.
You gotta earn that shit. And so he's won multiple of those. And apparently the Orioles won him over via Zoom and they just talked pitching. They just talked the pitching lab that they have, the pitching plan, talking about his pitch mix, what they can do for him. And I don't know if I love this or not for the O's.
And I
And
do for a season or 2. It is what it is. And I don't know, I think he's gonna be a fun personality to
I
watch.
th Yes. I think I would feel better though if the A's, good night, if the O's, the Orioles had Corbin Burns back in their rotation
Yeah,
or any number 1 starting pitcher back in the rotation, because as it is now, it's Zach Eflin and Grayson Rodriguez is your 1-2.
right.
You got Dean Kremer, and
Mhm.
then, you know, Sagano, like, I just and we all know that there is some sort of adjustment period that they've gotta get used to, and I just don't know if Orioles team that is trying to contend
And they
in
need
especially
yeah,
in the AL East
yeah.
is gonna do that, especially now that the Orioles brought that wall back in.
Mhm.
And apparently his fastball doesn't play. His fastball is only 93, and while it gets hit, he doesn't throw it a bunch, but when it does, it goes a long way. So, I don't know. We'll see how he does with the rougher I can't do it. I can't do it without laughing. The smoother balls here, they had tacky balls in Japan. We all know this. The smoother balls here, the travel, Japan follows a little bit more of that AAA schedule where it's the Japanese pitchers literally only have to pitch once a week. So the fact
Yeah.
that it's every 5 days is gonna be a little bit different, especially and then you add in all of the travel, it's gonna be an adjustment period for him, and I don't know if that's going to play well
Yeah,
with
and
a
you would think
35-year-old.
with a guy who is not overpowering hitters, which he is not, as you said, yeah, his fastball about 92, you would think it would be even more of an adjustment for those guys who rely on control and that style of pitching, the size of the balls. So,
Mhm,
yeah, when you talk about that, I love this style of pitcher. I love
mhm.
seeing a guy like this who could come over and I guess, especially against certain teams, I think these guys can be really successful. But yeah, for right here, right now, it will be interesting to see if he's able to plug right in. I did find an interview with him where he said that he is particularly looking forward to coming back to enjoy some soft shell crab during the summer on the East Coast,
I
in
love that.
Baltimore. We fell for Mike Imanaga, and I do think Sagano could be one of those guys who we enjoy sharing this kind of cultural moment with him
Yeah,
as he comes over to MLB at age 35. So I think it's cool. I think it's a great
yeah.
story. Where he fits in the Orioles rotation, or is he the missing piece? No, but I guess we'll see if they have another piece in store or if they're gonna make a run for it with these guys.
Orioles, I beg of you. Mike Elias, please, just don't let your pride get in the way. Go sign some free agents and put Rubenstein's money to work.
I
Please,
feel
I
like
beg of
they
you.
must have known that there must have been some kind of some precursor with Boris that, like, they were not gonna get Burns because I feel like it was just, like, not even a conversation of if he was gonna be coming back to the Orioles. As soon as he was traded to them, it was just like, "Yeah, no, he's here on a rental, and they better make the most of it." And unfortunately, they weren't able to, but
No.
I'm not sure if that's because of the narrative of the Orioles of yore, which is under new ownership not supposed to be the same. But I don't think that there's really any chance that they make that happen just because we have not heard even the quietest of whisper about anything like that.
Yeah.
Okay, before we move on to the other free agent signings, I we do have to talk about the Cubs' newest acquisition,
Do we
which
have
is
to?
along with that heavy hitter right-handed pitcher Cody Poteet. They have also acquired KyleTucker from the Houston Astros. The Astros, in return, receive infielder IsakParedes, infielder CamSmith, who is the number 7 overall prospect in Major League Baseball, and they will get returned to them right-handed pitcher Hayden Wesneski. Suzy, okay, I know emotions are running high. I know under no circumstances would you be okay with saying goodbye to Kyle Tucker, ideally. But this return seems pretty legit.
Yeah. When I take my fan hat off and I put the known baseball knower hat on, it's a great return. Cam Smith, apparently Cam Smith is a large human being, 6'4", 225. When I looked that up, I was all 6'4", 225. Who else is that size? He's Jordan sized.
Mm,
Jordan is 6'5", 237. So he is an inch shorter than Jordan Alvarez. And again, this is not a math pod. So what, 12 pounds lighter than Jordan? But he is a large human being, and he is the prize acquisition in essentially this trade,
Mhm.
and it's great. Where did you see that he was the overall 7th? Because he
That's a good
was
question.
because I
I
wanna say that in the top 100, I know the Astros had Jacob Melton that was, like, 89th, and I wanna say that Cam Smith was a little bit higher up in the 70s, like 72 or 73.
oh, maybe I misread it. Let me see if I can find it while we're
Okay.
discussing here.
So, because he was the Cubs' 14th, their first pick, but it was, like, the 14th overall pick,
Mhm.
or maybe it was their second pick, and because I wanna say Matt Smith was their or Cam Smith, no, Matt Shaw, excuse me, Matt Shaw, Cam Smith. Woo, words are hard. But, yeah, anyways, he was the crown jewel in this piece. IsakParedes is tailor-made for the Astros. I was gonna say Minute Maid Park. It's no longer called Minute Maid Park. It's Daikin Park now or Daikin Field. I don't know. It's
Oh, yeah.
something.
Weird.
The Crawford boxes, tailor-made for IsakParedes' swing. Funnily enough, NolanArenado pulls all his balls that way too. So
Mhm.
Nolan could have jacked up his numbers, but that's okay. We didn't want you anyways, Nolan. I don't know. Hopefully IsakParedes will actually do the things and just park 40 home runs in the Crawford boxes, and we would love that. Hayden Wesneski is actually a hometown kid. He grew up in Tomball, which is a suburb of Houston, and the Astros was his favorite team growing up. And he always dreamed about playing for his hometown team.
Oh, that's cool.
And the fact that he now gets to do that, we love that. Cam Smith also apparently they're his top two teams when he was getting drafted was the Cubs. That was his number one overall. His grandmother, his entire family, huge Cubs fans. The number two team that he wanted to get drafted, the Houston Astros. Apparently,
Amazing.
Dana Brown, our general manager, scouted him extensively, loved his profile, and I dare say maybe wanted him over Matt Shaw. It works out for everybody when Cam Smith told his grandma that he got traded
Mhm.
from the Cubs to the Astros, he was worried about how his grandma was gonna take it, and his grandma apparently took it really well and said, "Hey, that's great. It's the Astros. It's the number 2 team.
Yeah,
We're fine." And the fact that they're from Florida and now the Astros spring train in Florida, they'll be able to see a lot more of his spring training games.
that's awesome.
Just works out for everybody. IsakParedes apparently doesn't know anybody in the Astros clubhouse though, but we're a great clubhouse. I say we like I'm in the clubhouse. I hear the Astros have a
You've
great
checked it out
clubhouse,
for him.
very welcoming. Yeah. Oh,
Yes, this is Fox Sports has misled me because it does say in
oh,
this Fox Sports article, which I'll send you, that Cam Smith is the number 7 overall prospect per MLB pipeline, but then when I click on the link and I go look at the overall prospects, he is 73 on the top
okay.
100 overall prospects. He is number 1 now in the Astros system, though. So
Oh
maybe
yeah.
he was number
Yeah.
7 in the Cubs system, and the way that they worded that just
Right, of
leads you to
course.
believe
Yeah.
it's number 7 overall. Number 7 overall really makes it seem like number 7 overall. Anyway,
Yeah.
you heard it
Anyways.
here, not
Yeah.
first, but we will confirm he is number 73
Yeah.
overall in MLB.
But yeah, big kid, and it'll be interesting to see where he starts in our organization. I don't know if they'll start him in Double A or in Triple A, but I hope that that he will get a spring training invite and let him get his feet wet. There's a couple of other quote unquote young guys, but when I say young guys, he is the baby. Like we have other, I say young guys, but they're not as young. They're all 25, 26, 27. I
Interesting,
say
okay.
Zach DeZenzo is young-ish. I want to say he's 22 or 23.
Yeah, but there are some organizations that have, like, 10 guys on their 40-man roster that are under 25, so that's interesting.
Yeah,
So, what in the hell, though, are the Cubs doing? Yes, any team would be thrilled to have Kyle Tucker,
yeah.
who is one of the best overall players in the game of baseball currently. But are the
I
Cubs
don't
they're definitely gonna contend enough to get him for a one-year rental and give up the likes of Cam Smith and then some.
Yeah, that's why I was so confused by the Cubs trade because by no means were the Cubs a Kyle Tucker away from a World Series contending team.
Right, exactly.
They still had some light bats everywhere, and they still don't have a closer. It's one of those where you're like, "All right, while I love Justin Steele and Mike Imanaga has been great, that's a great 1-2 punch." Yeah, who else? You got was it, what, Tanner Bybee? No, not Tanner Bybee. It was one of the ones from the Guardians that came back. Why am I blanking on his name?
I do not know, but I am trying to find out.
It's lost. It will come to me at some point, but it was one of the Guardians pitchers that came back from Tommy John that got hurt and had come back and done great. And they signed him. And
Oh, Matthew
it's one of
Boyd.
those Matthew Boyd, thank you.
Yes, they did sign him to a
It's
2-year deal.
yeah. It's one of those where you're like, okay, that's all right. But they still don't have a third baseman. They signed IsakParedes to play third base. He had a horrible season over there after the trade deadline. And I don't know if that is partially because his swing doesn't play in Wrigley or if it was a mixture of that plus getting moved to a brand new team where you don't know anybody and in a city where you possibly may be cold. Like the Rays, for as much as the stadium, everybody said the stadium sucked, it was indoors, playing outdoors,
Totally different environment, yeah.
playing all of the day games that Wrigley has. If that was a factor, I don't know, but he was not the same player. IsakParedes was not the same player that he was for the Rays. And so third base is now a hole, and you now got rid of CodyBellinger, who was your first baseman for most of the year. I don't know. I don't know what the Cubs are doing either.
They also signed veteran catcher Carson Kelly, who a great story is Carson Kelly grew up a Cubs fan, so he's, like, really excited, his family's really excited, but again, not a game-changing player. I shouldn't say that because all players can be game-changing players, but not a season-changing player, I should say. 2 years, 11.5 million for we'll assume a backup catcher in Carson Kelly, but
Mhm.
yeah, the Cubs have a lot of other things to do here if I say this as I'm like, but who else is gonna win the NL Central? But still, they don't have a clear enough path to where
Yeah.
you make the kind of investment that they just did for KyleTucker this early in the offseason. But yeah, we'll see. I guess they're probably gonna do other things that'll make me wanna scream and cry, and I'll just have
Yeah.
to sit back and watch it happen.
And sing "Go Cubs Go," Kels, because I fully expect you to.
That will never be happening. The furthest that I will go in listen, my mom is a Cubs fan, so I have purchased many a Cubs attire for her throughout my lifetime. Other than that, the furthest I will go in any sort of Cubs association is that if there is a Kyle Tucker bobblehead, I will do my best to help you get one, but that
Thank
is
you. That is
because
much
of
appreciated.
Kyle Tucker and you, not because of
Of the
the
Cubs.
Cubs.
Yeah. Hey, I will take it.
And maybe
I will take it.
we can find someone, like an Etsy shop who will sew us a tiny little Astros jersey that you can put on your bobblehead of Kyle Tucker over your Cubs
Perfect.
bobblehead of Kyle
I love
Tucker.
that. I love that so much. Listen, I'm holding on to the 0.0000001% chance that Kyle Tucker and Dana Brown have a handshake agreement with Jim Crane that that Jim Crane is going to open up his wallet and say, "Yes, Kyle Tucker, I will give you $450 million over 8 years because you are worth it." Okay? That's what that is
I mean, somebody's
the
gotta do it. Somebody's gonna do it next
glimmer
offseason, so
that is the tiny glimmer of hope that I am holding on to, that this was the plan all along. Dana Brown is playing 40 chess. Listen, Kyle, this is what's going to happen. We're going to trade you. We're going to get back a quote unquote haul. And then in free agency, we're just going to bring you on back. Okay.
it's happened.
I'm just saying that's the hope that I'm clinging to, because if I want all of the owners, I want all of the owners to pretend like they are playing fantasy baseball. That's what I need all of the owners to do. I don't need I don't need these guys running these MLB teams like a fucking business. I need these guys to be playing fantasy baseball. All right. I don't care about profit margins and four revenue. I don't give a fuck. Did your team win? Okay. Pennants. That's what I care about. I need more owners to be like Steve Cohen. That's what I need. Steve
I think a
Cohen
lot
said,
of
"I do not care." Yeah.
I think a lot of fans would agree with you. Speaking of Steve Cohen and his Mets, they have made another move here. They have signed right-handed pitcher GriffinCanning, formerly of the Angels, to a 1-year, $4.25 million deal. I like this, just padding the starting rotation. This is gonna be Griffin's 6th major league season, I believe. He's a guy who can go out and eat those innings for you. I assume they're gonna just pad him at the back end of the rotation, yeah?
I don't know, because they're padding their entire rotation with misfits the island of misfit toys. I don't know. It's Clay Holmes, who is going to possibly become a starter. Frankie Montas, who hasn't been great since his Oakland A's days, literally when it was the actual Oakland A's and when they were good. Now we have GriffinCanning, who was on the Angels with a 6+ ERA that got traded to the Braves, and the Braves just DFA'd him. If you want to take on reclamation projects, David Stearns, perfect. I love that for you. But you got to limit yourself to one or two and sign a full on rotation. And then a reclamation project, because then if it doesn't work out, like, you're good. Like, you still have an entire rotation that you can fall back on. But when your entire rotation is the island of misfit toys, I don't know what you're doing over here. And it
Yeah,
it scares me for the Mets.
is David Peterson gonna start? What?
Why?
I
I
don't know, man. Listen, there's a lot of starting pitchers is one of the most, I would say those are, like, probably some of the most misconstrued projections, because there are always at least 2 or 3 starting pitchers that end up just absolutely shoving and maybe even potentially getting Cy Young votes that just come out of nowhere every season. And the ups and downs of starting pitchers is more than probably any other position in baseball, like, as a whole. So, I don't know. I agree with you that I'm looking at it like,
Like, I
um,
I hope that all of these lottery tickets pan out
yeah.
for you, because, again, I you have not found a bigger non-Mets fan than me. I am Astros ride or die all day, every day, but I love the Mets vibe last season. I love their
Yeah.
story. I loved almost everything about them. And now that they have Juan Soto, that Steve Cohen said, "My dick is bigger than yours and my pocketbook." Juan Soto, you wanted all of the things. You wanted a suite. You wanted your mom to have a clothing allowance. Done. You want a $75 million signing bonus? Let's do it. Okay, great. You still don't have a first baseman. Your rotation, again, is the island of misfit toys. I want this to work so badly. But I don't know. And everyone's, oh, but they had Sean Manaea, and Sean Manaea fixed himself, guys. It
Yeah.
Sean Manaea decided, oh, you know what I could do? I could just change my arm angle. It wasn't like the pitching lab told him, hey, Sean, just try and throw like a couple inches lower and see what that does for you. When he decided to go step in the other batter's box to throw the pitches, they were like, are you sure you want to do that? Maybe that's not the greatest idea. And he's like, no, but watch. While, yes, maybe the Mets pitching lab program over there can fix all of these guys, I don't know if you can take credit for Shamanai.
I don't know. I just think they burned themselves so bad with Verlander and Scherzer that they've gone the opposite direction. And they're like, no, we're gonna sign all guys for less than $15 million contracts. Like, even better if it's under 10 million. And
Right? Okay.
yeah, it seems like
I guess
the
pad
opposite
the
approach,
entire
right?
rotation with all of them. Sign more, because
Yeah. Yeah. No, they
Lord
definitely
knows
need
all of the arms. Yeah.
more. Yeah. Another guy who is in his sixth major league season that is a name you may or may not know. He has signed with the Nationals, who might be a team that we're talking more about in contention in the coming years. Mike Soroka has signed a 1-year, $9 million deal. He was most frequently with the White Sox. He did go 0-10 last season with the White Sox, but he pitched for the White Sox. That's the precursor here. The important thing to know, he did have 4.74 ERA in his 25 appearances, which included 9 starts, but he really started to thrive when he was moved to Chicago's bullpen. So as a reliever, he posted a 2.75 ERA, held opponents to only a 189 batting average, and recorded 15
Nice.
strikeouts per 9 innings as a reliever. What? But they
I
signed him
wonder
to
then.
be a starter, right? The Nationals are going to start him,
I don't
maybe?
know.
We
I
don't
guess
know.
maybe they'll try him as a starter, and then if it doesn't work out, then they have their closer, because they DFA'd Kyle Finnegan, right, who was their
Mhm,
closer,
mhm.
and so I want to say that they're looking for a closer. So maybe that's their contingency plan.
Yeah, he
They're
does
like, all
have
right,
converted closer kind of written all over him. I could see that as well. Yes, he does have an increase of velocity coming out of the bullpen, so could be that kinda guy. Will be really interesting to see where they use him. They have a very young rotation, right? They've got Jake Irvin as a right-hander, left-handers Mackenzie Gore, DJ Hurst, and Mitchell Parker. They've also got Cade Cavalli and Josiah Gray, who are recovering from Tommy John surgery. So
Mhm.
some sneaky pieces there. Going to be on the IL for the Nats. But yeah, Patrick Corbin's deal is finally done with them, right?
Yeah, yeah. And then they have the young bats coming up as
Yeah,
well.
James Wood.
Mhm.
See if CJ Abrams got his shit together in the off season, put his gambling shoes away, hopefully.
Hopefully, fingers crossed.
They've got a very strong
And oh,
pipeline.
and they have the first overall draft pick next season.
Oh, yeah. Oh, man. Yeah. Think about it. Juan Soto, Bryce Harper, Trey Turner. Think about the money that those guys are making, and they all came out of the Nationals. There's probably somebody else too that I'm forgetting, but yeah, it's insane.
So, another team up there that signed another guy who I guess hadn't been really talked about, Max Kepler, outfielder that had played 10 years with the Minnesota Twins, is now going to be a Philly.
This came out of nowhere.
I
Just,
need you to know though, there's two guys in MLB that are hot that I just find delicious, gorgeous. Kevin Kiermaier, who obviously is retired and no longer, and Max Kepler. Those are the two guys.
interesting. Okay. Okay.
Max Kepler, so hot and
I can see
semi
it.
age appropriate, but not really. So
Better than some.
yeah,
Yeah. He's
yeah,
31. He was hurt a ton, right? In 2024, like a lot of the Twins. Tendonitis in his knee, hip issue. Yikes.
yeah.
But
He's been in the
when
league
he's
for 10 years,
healthy,
so
yeah, when he's healthy, he's doing it. He's pretty solid. I think he has very good discipline at the plate, so maybe somebody they can plug towards the bottom of the lineup to hit for average. Yeah, I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see how they use him. I would hate to see him be the Whit Merrifield of the 2025 Phillies, but just in the sense
yeah,
that they'll use him and get rid of him at the deadline. But we'll see. Yeah, he's been around for a while. I'm sure he'll fit into the team culture-wise and will be fun for us to watch how the Phillies utilize him.
yeah. So I want to say he's only like right field, a career 102 OPS plus guy. I want to say last season, I think he had a 90, 91 OPS plus, so just a tiny bit lower than average, but plays right field. So I don't know who plays right field for them for the Phillies. I guess now
Still
Max
today,
Kepler, but
sometimes Brandon Marsh. Yeah, they're always looking for someone to platoon with Brandon
okay.
Marsh. So I guess
Okay,
he could
so
be that guy.
Max Kepler is left-handed though, is he? I
Oh,
think.
yeah, he is. You're right.
Yeah, left-handed. Is
Uh,
it? Is Brandon Marsh left-handed too?
I think so. Yeah. Yeah, so never
Let
mind.
me let me see his splits.
Max
Maybe he's
Kepler
one of
is
those
from
weird
Germany.
ones that. Yes.
He was, born in Berlin.
Let's see. Versus left-handed pitching, he has a 102 OPS plus, and versus right-handed pitching, he has 89 OPS plus. So one of those weird guys that hits
Hmm,
better left on left versus
okay,
left on right. So maybe that's
okay.
why.
Yeah, maybe.
Or so.
Interesting. Okay, Max Kepler, we're interested.
Yeah. So let's see what Max Kepler. How much did you say he got?
1 year, 10,000,000.
1 year, 10 million. Okay, because the Astros need to fill an outfield spot, and so everyone's like, we need to sign Teoscar. I'm like, do we really need to sign Teoscar for 3 years, 22 million? No, because I have a better idea. Give me Randall Grichuk. Bring me Randall Grichuk. It would be
Mm,
cheaper, and I feel like that would be a much better idea. Bring me Randall Grichuk. And no one's talking about him. No one's talking about him.
yeah, I do think that is a sneaky smart, better direction, especially for a team like the Astros who are, like, stacked enough to,
Hmm.
yeah, go for a more affordable but still very solid option. I don't know how the Phillies fans are gonna feel about this Max Kepler deal, though, because while they do want some change, I just think I don't know, I'm like the headlines that I'm seeing from local news outlets here, like, "The Phillies make a head-scratching decision to sign injury-prone outfielder."
I
I'll let you know, I'm sure Philly sports radio is gonna be reeling over it tomorrow morning, like they
I'm
do about
sure.
everything, so
Yeah, I don't know. They're still trying to move Alec Boehm, so maybe that's their plan. I don't know. Are the Cardinals interested in Alec Boehm?
probably not because I think the whole reason other than cutting payroll that they wanna move Nolan Arenado is because I think that there's a chance they're gonna have Jordan Walker play third, honestly. If not
Oh, okay.
Thomas J there's 4 or 5 other guys who have earned playing time and would definitely be worth giving them a shot with where the Cardinals are at right now at third
You don't
base.
think Jordan Walker's gonna stay in the outfield?
I don't think he should, but
Okay.
we'll see. Did you see he made strides. He made great strides from 2023 to 2024, and he still was not he's not an everyday outfielder,
Okay.
and I think he would be more successful if they could give him the opportunity to play corner infield, and it is way, way too soon to rule him out as being a super impactful franchise player. So I do think that I don't know what kind of shot they're going to give him, but I wouldn't be
Mhm.
surprised if it is in the infield instead of the outfield. And I just don't think I think Alec Bohm I think the Cardinals would be great for him with, like, where they're at. I think he could be more
Mhm.
successful with where a team like the Cardinals is at right now, but I don't think they really have a need for him.
Gotcha. All right. Let's end on this though, Kels. Did you see that massive study that MLB apparently sanctioned about pitcher injuries?
I did not, no. Haven't caught up on that.
Yeah. The newsflash, throwing hard and throwing breaking stuff is not so good for your arm.
You don't say.
Yeah. If you didn't catch that article that Jeff Passan wrote, it's essentially a 5-year study that MLB put a
Mm,
lot
mhm.
of money into. And that was the conclusion that throwing velocity and throwing breaking stuff a lot is not so good for your arm. And I don't know, newsflash, we could have told you this for a lot less money, people. You mean the human body is not made to throw 100 every single time you throw a pitch? The fuck? Duh. Here's the problem though. MLB is like, what can we do about it? It's too late. It's too fucking late, MLB. You can't do anything about it at your level because guess what? Colleges, high school teams, they're not looking for the guy that has 8 pitches and then can put the ball anywhere they want at 82 miles an hour. No.
And the way that player development is now, like,
Yeah.
scouts do not even know how to recognize the things that we used to value in pitchers.
Yep. And at the AAA level, they pitch once a week. They pitch once a week and going they're not built up to go 6 innings. They do 3, 4 innings, and then they try and stretch them out a little bit, maybe 5 innings here and there, but they're not consistently going 6 innings because they're trying to get all of their guys developed. So it's 3 innings here, 3 innings here, 4 innings there, but they're only doing it once a week. So now when the young pitchers are coming up and they're having to pitch every 5th day, and I don't know about you, Kels, but on the Astros, it's a goal. It's a goal to go 6 innings. Quality start. They want 6 innings out of our starting pitchers. And I know there's some clubs out there that do the opener role or they're only going 4, 5 innings, and that's the limit that they do. But here, we're trying to get you to 6 innings. And apparently, that's not great, especially if you're only going 3, 4 innings. And now you're having to change your routine from AAA to the big leagues because you're pitching a day earlier. So now everything has to get shifted. And we all know that pitchers are creatures of habit, but they got to do different shit. And I really do need to get a pitcher on here to talk about what's the different shit that you got to do. I know one day is
Yeah,
like the bullpen day, but then the bullpen day gets moved up. And then sometimes you don't do the bullpen day because then you might have to throw in a game. It's all very confusing to me. So I need a pitcher to come on and talk to me about this. But it's one of those things where you need to go down to the little league level. You need to go down to
yeah.
like the 14-year-olds, the 12-year-olds, because a lot of the pitchers now that have been talked to have said that their dads would not allow them to throw breaking stuff until they were 17, 18. But now you see 12-year-olds, 13-year-olds throwing breaking stuff, and you're all, what are you doing? Don't do that. Stop doing
Man,
that.
as you're talking about this, it's making me think about the only podcast where you're gonna hear starting pitching compared to belting and types of singing. But this reminds me of how classical voice teachers are like so anti people using their chest voice or what we call belting, which is a very popular musical theater style of singing, especially 5, 10 years ago, even I guess 10 or 15 years ago. Wicked is all Elphaba is all belting in that style. And there's a lot of voice teachers who scared us shitless about not using our voices that way because there are a lot of voice teachers that will say there is no correct or safe way to do it. But it is the thing that gets you work, right? Or gets you noticed. Very similar to the velocity with the starting pitcher. And on some level, it's are you going to sacrifice longevity for the chance to get noticed at all? And with something like Major League Baseball, yeah, of course you are, if that's what's going to get you the chance. Yeah, you're nailing it. It's so convoluted, it's so layered, and it's not something that can be fixed at the major league level at this point.
Mhm. Yeah, the fact that they're trying to put implements into games, like regulations, such as your starting pitcher has to go 6 innings or else you lose your DH.
Yeah.
What now? I'm sorry.
Yeah, we can't.
No, we can't do that. If you wanna do that, let's incentivize your starting pitchers to go longer. Let's try that, but then again, that's is that on him or is that on the organization? We all know that Blake Snell got pulled from that fateful Rays game, and he was dealing. Again, it can't be fixed here. You gotta go all the
Yep.
way back because you're not getting a D1 scholarship throwing 89 miles an hour.
Yep.
Most pitchers now, their fastball in college is sitting 95, and even that is slow. What are we doing? And I guess they did a like perfect game comparison between 20 and last year, 2024.
Mhm.
You know the number of pitchers that were throwing above 95 in 2018?
I would guess, like, less than 50%.
There was like 3, or maybe it
Oh
was
my
0.
god.
It was either 0 or 3, but
No way.
needless to say, it was very little. So
Wow.
few.
I guess I
And
didn't realize it happened that quickly.
yeah, and now you have 12 because velocity can be trained, and the fact that we have
Yeah.
all the technology and all the high-tech cameras and the all of that that can watch your body or record your body and then fix, quote, unquote, all of the mechanics to make you throw harder or to allow your body to throw harder, but at 12 years old, you should not be throwing that hard all of the
Yeah.
time.
It's also just not it's not gonna translate as you grow, but it's
Yeah.
again, they're doing what they have to do to get noticed,
Yep.
and
Yep.
yeah, we gotta change
But
it the right way back.
unless it gets changed, you're going to see more 13, 14, 15, 16-year-olds getting their quote unquote first Tommy John.
Yeah.
There are kids literally talking to me, little baseball players, that are telling me, "Oh yeah, I got my first Tommy John." I'm sorry, your first Tommy John? You're planning on getting multiple Tommy Johns?
This is
And
also why
apparently
oh
that's a
man.
thing. They are already prepared for multiple major arm reconstruction surgeries.
Yeah, that's also why I think that it's important the way that they're talking or not talking about Shohei Ohtani and his situation because he did they're not calling it Tommy John. They're very specifically not calling it Tommy John, and they're very specifically talking like he's definitely gonna come back and pitch, and the reality is not that. So, I think that could honestly help and might dictate the way that conversations are had about that kind of stuff too.
Yeah. It's really one, I'm glad that MLB finally admitted to the problem, but then for them to turn around and say, "Oh yeah, this is how we're going to fix it." No, I'm sorry. You have to go back. Like you have to go all the way down, all the different levels, but that's it's not going to happen. So there's really no band-aids that we can put on it here. But if you guys have thoughts, comments, concerns, if you guys agree or disagree, let us know. If you're a pitcher, especially, drop your comments on the YouTubes and let us know what you guys think about how it can be fixed or if there is any solution. I honestly don't think there is one, but maybe you guys are thinking more outside the box than I am. I don't know. But if you guys have not already liked and subscribed to the podcast, please do that right now. Tell all your friends. Kelsey, tell the peoples where they can find you on the internets to let you know how incredibly right you are about Arenado.
Yes, I
On
am
that.
at KBirdTweets. That's KBURD tweets. My other podcast, Peace, Love, and Baseball, is wherever you get your podcasts, as well as on the YouTube, on the KBird Tweets YouTube channel, Peace, Love, and Baseball. And yeah, after you're on that YouTube channel, it'll probably lead you straight to this very associated, similar content, like minded content here at Bourbon and Baseball. where can they find us, Suzy?
You can find us here, obviously, on the YouTubes at Bourbon and Baseball. You can find us on the podcast side on Apple or Spotify or really anywhere where you're listening to podcasts. If you guys haven't already done that on the podcast side, please give us a 5-star rating and give us some nice words. Type out some nice words about how awesome we are as podcast hosts. No mean words yet because I'm still very traumatized over Kyle Tucker leaving us, and I don't think my heart can take it.
Yeah, and come on,
Maybe
like,
in the new year.
you can't be mean to Cardinals fans right now. We're definitely going through enough.
With that, we are going to wrap, and I'm very excited about our 40-man find. Hopefully, I will clip these and make it a little bit more inviting so that you guys know what we're doing. With that, we are going to wrap and say, yay, baseball! And